Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Live to Roll channel. I am your host for the day, Brianna Wheeler, and we're back with another women's disability show. Today, we're going to talk all about SCI and just spinal cord injury awareness, kind of what the basics of spinal cord injury and maybe some of the things that we go through that people do have a lot of questions when they do have an injury. So we're going to start with introductions, and with our introductions, we're just going to tell you a little bit about our level and what our sensation was and our movement is. Like, what does that mean for our level? Also, I know I'm in black and white. It's my new little style. Just kidding. We can't figure out how the fuck to change it back. So sorry, guys. I hope it looks cool for you guys. I hope you're enjoying it. So my name is Brianna. I was injured 6 years ago from a gunshot wound. The bullet did pierce into my spine, and it is still there. They were scared to take it out because my spine was partially hit, which means I was incomplete, and they were afraid to make me a complete spinal cord injury. So with that came the bullet fragments that go into L1 through L5, and I have multiple fractures throughout my whole lumbar. And what that kind of means is my lower body below my hips are not supposed to move. So, but with my why did I blank on that word with my incomplete injury? That's where I'm getting at. With my incomplete injury, I can feel a little bit more. So over the years, it took about like 2 years for me to get a little bit more sensation back. I started slowly being able to like have control over my thighs a little bit, and I might be able to feel more hot and cold water or more air. I do have a little bit of movement where I can move my leg up this way, but I can't kick up and down. So um with my specific amount of function that has came back, I don't feel like I can walk again. A lot of people that are incomplete, they can get function back, or there's just different diagnosis when it comes to that. But for me personally, I don't feel like that, only because my feet haven't come back after all these years, and I feel like that's one of the first things to come back for the people who walk. But that's just my personal experience with it. Okay, so let's go to Ashley and Nikki.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm Nikki. I'm a C4. And I'm a T6 paraplegic. Oh yeah, I'm a quad. We were injured in March of 2019. Car accident. Boom. Explain your injury. So my injury, I'm a C4, they say. And I'm a complete, they say. But I function more like a C6, they say. So yeah, I'm a little confusing. But what can you move? I can move my arms, I can't move my fingers. They look like this. Quad paws, yes. What else? I had a trach at one point. That was fun. What else?
So
That was
when you were
about it.
injured, did you get more sensation or feeling back from when you were first injured to now?
I mean, when I was like first injured, I couldn't move like nothing. But it's like leaving rehab, I've gotten stronger. But like other than that, I haven't really gained much like sensation. Like still can't feel like where I couldn't feel before.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Okay. Okay. How about you, Nikki?
So I'm a T6 paraplegic, and I kind of feel like I lose sensation like by my belly button ish area. So I like cut in half basically. And I'm a complete, but that's what the doctors say. I don't really believe that stuff. I think the complete and incomplete is a total load of BS because the doctor also told me that I like the last time I went to the doctor, which was only a few months ago, was that I was now like operating like a T10, whatever that means. And so it's like if I was complete, I was told I would never get that like anything back. So, but I never believed that stuff because they even said the same about Ashley, and she moves more than other C4s. So I just think it's like personal to each person, and I don't know. I just want to put that out there. But yeah.
No, I think that's an important topic. I feel like we are all snowflakes when it comes to this injury, and
Yeah.
we talk about it all the time. Like two people can get injured the same exact way and this be the same exact age and everything, and have two complete different recoveries. Like everybody's different, and it's very, very particular to you, how your body just recovers, different things like that. So, yeah, that's what I would say about it. How about you, Jessica?
Hi, I am injured at C7 incomplete. I was injured 12 years ago, and same as Ashley, when I woke up, I couldn't move anything at all. Um, but I am very much incomplete. And it's interesting that you guys mentioned like complete versus incomplete because I know um, someone who's complete that can move her leg. So I was really confused and I asked a PT, and he said that complete and incomplete has nothing to do with movement, it has to do with sensation, which made a
Mm-hmm.
little more sense because there are people that I know that can walk but can't feel their legs. So they
Mm-hmm.
look like they're drunk. They're just stepping everywhere because they don't know where they're stepping. But anyway, so when I first got injured, couldn't move anything. Sensation came back pretty quickly. So I could feel like probably after a week. Um, my sensation is pretty much intact. I can feel all pain except like sharp, not even, I don't know, superficial pain. So cuts and things like that. I can feel them. Um, but I don't feel the pain at the level that someone else would. And I feel it like a delayed response. So, like, if you pinch me, it hurts like a minute after.
Mm-hmm.
So the sting takes a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
Hot and cold, I can feel, but if it's hot or cold water, I can't. All water feels good. My legs don't like water, but it feels like warmth wise, it feels okay. Um, Through time, I did gain some mobility, so I can move my legs, I can use my core, and I'm a C7. Hands, one is more than the other, which a lot of us have. But I have pinch, which is honestly the goal, right? Like this one, no
Mm-hmm.
pinch, no nothing. So my legs, I have really bad ankles, but if I'm wearing braces, I can stand, I can take steps, I can use a walker. Nothing functional. So like I have to have someone physically pick me up and stand me. So I can't just decide to get up. But when I transfer, I use my legs to kick off. Um, so it's helped a lot. But with my incomplete injury, I have a crazy amount of spasms. Like they never stop. If you guys can tell, I'm just twitching right now the whole time I talk. I never stop. So um, I am on baclofen, and you know it helps a little. Without the baclofen, I can't do anything at all. Like it'll shoot me out of my chair. I can't open my hands. I can't write. I can't nothing. With the baclofen,
Mm-hmm.
the spasms are still there, but I can function.
Okay, okay, okay. Interesting. Yeah, a lot comes with that. I feel like there's like kind of a little bit of a battle with the community between complete and incomplete, and a lot of times I won't even say it. Like, unless we're on the show and I'm like giving it for informational reasons, I honestly don't even say it because I feel like I am looked at and judged a little bit more differently. And in my experience, it fucking sucks, honestly. Like, it hasn't done anything that I wanted to do. It makes my body do things that I don't want it to do. I feel more pain that I don't want to fucking feel. Like, it's just a headache. It's such a headache. And like, I wanted it for so long. I wanted to feel something. I wanted to have that moment. I feel like something was taken away from me, right? And I felt like it was mine, and I wanted it back. But once I started getting it back, oh hell no, you can have that shit. Like, I did not want it anymore. So Maya's going in and out. That sucks. But hopefully she pops back on and she can explain a little bit more of her injury level. Um, okay, let's just move into bowels and bladder for now. So bowels and bladder is a very tricky subject, and it's hard for a lot of people who are newly injured, especially because it's new, right? You're usually taught that's your private time in your bathroom. You shut the door. You don't really talk about it. You go do your business and you come back. But now it's kind of like you have to announce it. Everybody's there. It's in the way, you know. In the beginning, I had to deal with a lot of stomach problems where I was having accidents and you're leaking. And it's just a whole nother process that can be extremely irritating. So we're going to talk a little about that. So how did you react when you were told about having to cath, Ashley?
Probably just confused. I feel like is what I remember feeling. I don't know. And then just like wondering like, how does this work in the long term? So I started researching, as I do everything, because I was just curious.
Mm-hmm.
How does this work? What are they doing? Why are they spreading my 4 hours? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I didn't necessarily really even like angry or anything. I was just like, okay, this is like part of this new life, you know?
Mm-hmm. Do you remember how they explained it to you?
For me, I feel like it wasn't really them explaining it to me. It was more them explaining to me that I would have to like tell someone how to do it for me. You know, if that
And
makes
how has
sense.
that learning process been? Yeah, for you to have to learn and then direct other people to do your care. Like, has that been an issue? Like, how have you dealt with it? And from the beginning to now, because I know in the beginning it's hard to just spread your legs and let anybody like just look at you, you know, and explain it. It's like, what the fuck, you know? Of course, we get more comfortable over time, but how did that affect you, like in the beginning, where you really had to teach people?
I don't know if I ever really like. I mean, I won't look through it. I feel like most of the people that learned it were like learned in the hospital.
Okay.
I don't really have much support, and it's dwindling down
Yeah.
every day. So, love that.
Yeah. I'm the same way. How about you, Nikki? Do you remember about them telling you when you had a cath, and how you thought about that?
Yeah, I remember being a little confused because like at first I wasn't doing it on my own. They were doing it, but like obviously I could see what they were doing. I was aware of what they were doing, and I was like confused. I was definitely confused. Like, why can't I feel that for a little bit? You know,
yeah, they used to always ask, "Can you feel that? Can you feel the pressure or something?" Did they ask you that?
Yeah,
They would ask me that. I thought that was weird. I'd be like, "No, I'm paralyzed. You guys told me that." Like,
you tell me that.
yeah, like I was like, "No, I can't feel that."
I'm dead. And so, Nikki, how's it been like having a cath, and like how does it affect your life? Do you feel like having to incorporate that into what you do and where you go and how you be independent?
I definitely feel like I have to plan out my days. I don't really know how to do it independently yet. I'm only 3 years out. I mean, I know how to do it independently. I do it by myself all the time, but I don't know how to do it like in a public bathroom, or like from my chair. I guess I could say. I always like I'm like in a laying position or some way, or like with Ashley and I before. Let me put her legs on her chair, my legs on her chair, not her legs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and,
My legs be on
yeah.
your chair to cast.
Weird. So it's been difficult a little bit navigating that, like trying to plan things out. I mean, even like at the roulette experience, I kept going to the hotel, like I wasn't going to use the actual bathroom. So I think I actually think a huge solution would be if all bathrooms had like a toilet that closed.
An adult changing table.
Or an
I've
adult.
said this.
Yeah, for real. That is needed.
Toilets
I don't
actually.
think people realize how hard it is to learn how to cath in public spaces and restrooms. That's definitely a navigation that we have to have. And a lot of people are scared of it. It honestly hinders a lot of people's independence because they're so afraid to have to go out and cath and not be able to find a place. You know, I hear it over and over again with the newly injured girls, unfortunately. Um, Let me just shout out a few people inside the comments. Thank you, Velma, for commenting. She said, "Hi, girl. Nice to see all the pretty faces. We absolutely love you." Velma was getting it at the expo, you guys. She was dancing. She was climbing up the rock wall. She fucking drove to Phoenix. She had me on my toes, man. Like, I absolutely adore her. She's goals all the way around. JJ Mac, hi girl, C45. I have no motor function below my armpits, but have patches of sensation, loads of spasms. Okay. And how do you deal with those spasms, JJ Mac? We're going to talk a little bit more about that. So feel free to add in your tips and tricks about that. Any live viewers that are on here, feel free to go into the chat, ask us questions. Don't be afraid. Say hey. We love going through the comments and seeing you guys and interacting with you guys. And also it does help those who watch the video afterwards because they're able to get those questions asked at that moment. Okay, so don't be shy if you guys are on. We appreciate it. Okay, before Maya goes away, let's have her explain her injury level and what that means. Oh no. You kind of mute it. Can you oh
okay, I got it. Well, TJ got it for me. Sorry guys. My phone literally told me the temperature was too hot and I couldn't use it until it cooled down, so I got kicked out.
Oh no, I would have had a panic attack. I would have been like, fuck.
I had it like in the air conditioner.
Oh, we appreciate you. We appreciate you so much. So, yeah, if you just want to introduce yourself and your level of injury and your movement, your sensation, talk a little bit about that.
All right, so I'm Maya. I am a C5, C6 quad. Currently living in Los Angeles, brand new thing. But for my injury level, well, I've been injured. Yeah. I've been injured for about 4 years now. Originally, I was a complete injury, and they told me that I had a very low chance of moving anything below my shoulders, which the devil is a liar because I am out here moving around. And then also, like throughout the years of my injury, I've gained more sensation, and I've also gained movement in my legs, well, in my left leg. And a lot of the intricacies of my injury are very similar to Jessica's when it comes to like feeling hot water, feeling cold water and temperature, and just delayed reaction. I will say ow like a minute after you do something, and people will be like, what, you're faking it, that didn't hurt you, why did you react so late? But that's really just when I feel it. But the difference between Jessica and myself is within our hands. I don't have any finger function or any pinch within my hands. And that's something that hasn't really changed over the years. Although like trying to work on it and strengthen it. But other than that, I deal with a lot of pain in my ankles. Being an incomplete injury is not all what it's cracked up to be, is what I always say, because I don't have movement that's functional. And it really, like, the sensation kind of just hurts, like my ankles pull really bad, and I can feel like every tendon, every muscle just like throbbing throughout the day if my legs are straight. But yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of it. And I heard that spasticity calms down like around like year 3. For me, that did not happen around year 3. My spasms and nerve pain have gotten like way worse, and it seems like it keeps increasing like as time goes by. Um, and that's like something that's pretty difficult for me to deal with, because not only is it painful, but it also hinders my independence. Like when I'm trying to push my manual chair, my arms will start spasming and lock up, and then I can't push myself, into the point where I'm like sliding out of my wheelchair. So those are just a couple of things that have changed for me over the years, and how I feel about them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so tricky. So you can like kind of tell from all of us like how tricky that it is and what we experience. But I definitely agree. Like after I started getting that more feeling back, that nerve pain, like it is so annoying, and it really does hurt. I'm the same way. I can feel every single thing pulling. I can feel when my hips are tight and like how much it hurts. Like I'll just like randomly move and be in so much shooting electric pain, And like we were talking about it in Phoenix about like the pain that we feel. Like it's kind of weird. Jessica was kind of explaining it, but it's like almost like I feel the pressure of the poke, like I feel the pain, but I can't tell like if it's something really digging into me and like stabbing me inside of my leg. Like I've literally been leaning forward and my phone was pushing into my leg, and leaning forward and scissors were pushing into my leg, and it felt the same way. It was just like irritating. I mean, I knew something was pushing into it and I felt pain, but I was like leaning down doing something. So I was like, we'll be okay. But I forgot I left the scissors on my lap. So that can be a struggle too, and also we're sitting all day long. So that pain on my butt, I can feel, and it's not fun. It definitely hurts a lot. So, yeah, that sucks. And I take gabapentin for that, but we'll get into that. So, I know Maya's like me with my catheter. So I basically have an intermediate catheter. I think that's what they're called, where it's inside. It's called a Foley catheter. So it's inside of my urethra. And I kind of had that when I was first injured, and they just never took it out. And I just went to go see a urologist, and they didn't give me good advice. And I haven't scheduled to go see another one, which I was talking to Caitlin, Tom's girlfriend, about it. And I was like, I really do need to go and get my urology checkup and my bowels and bladder checkup, because I've been injured for a couple years now, and things change and things happen. So we need to check on those things, and be aware of it. And I've been having like tons of mucus and tons of just problems getting rid of my UTIs and stuff. And it's not the business. It's not easy to have the cath like this. It sounds like, oh, they just use the bathroom the different way, but there are a lot of struggles, and there are a lot of different ways and different catheters and different companies and different things that come with having a cath and do bowel care, But real quick, I'm just gonna ask Maya how it is with you having your catheter out, because I know for a little bit you struggled with that, and then you got like a cute little bag and stuff. So how did you feel about it in the beginning compared to now?
Okay, so in the beginning of my injury, I was being straight cathed, and with the neurogenic bladder, which if you don't know, that means you can't control your bladder, and it spasms often. So that is something that
Oh no, you're breaking up a little
I
bit, babes.
struggle with.
Is she breaking up for you guys too?
Yeah.
Aw. We can't hear you, Maya.
Without knowing
We
that.
love you.
And
She's still
Debbie.
going on. She's preaching about her catheter.
Yeah. Girl, we ain't heard nothing.
I was trying. I thought it was mine. I was like, can we hear? I don't know.
can you guys hear me now? I have 3 bars.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay,
You're just
cool.
moving
Let me
around a
try
little
to
bit.
spit this out real quick. Okay, so in the beginning of my injury, I was being straight cathed. And I struggle really bad with autonomic dysreflexia, as well as having a neurogenic bladder. So my mom was having to try to like straight cath me in my power chair every like 2 to 4 hours, and that was really difficult because with my AD, like I would start sweating. Like I get AD to the point where like my head has this pounding headache, and that I just cannot handle at all. So I struggled with the decision of wanting to get a suprapubic catheter, especially because like the bag, you have it outside, and being like, not to sound vain, but just being real, like as a girl with a disability, we want to still look cute, we want to be aesthetic, and I was scared.
Preach, girl.
Yeah, so I had to like get over that fear and just really ask my doctor different questions, like, and I found out that I don't have to wear the bag all the time. I can cap it, and I can just kind of hide my tube, so that is a plus for me. But most recently I had like this great victory of um, taking photos with my bag, and I have like this cute little crocheted bag cover that my grandma made me. But even though I have that cover, it was still like, I don't want this in my photos. And TJ actually forgot my cap one day at the Abilities Expo. And so that was it was really a blessing in disguise. Like in the beginning, I was so upset, but it helped me create like this whole real Instagram post where I was just explaining to people, you have to own your shit, like it's a
Mm-hmm.
part of me, it's my catheter, and this is the way that I pee, and it's also a way to not only inspire other girls to live their truth, but to educate other people that are, ignorant to different things within the disability world. But all in all, the suprapubic catheter for me has been such a blessing because I don't have to worry about cathing every 4 hours with extremely tight legs and spasms, and I don't deal with the autonomic dysreflexia as much.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, for me, if I cap mine, for some reason I get so much pain. It has to do something with my incomplete. Like if it's not flowing, I freak out. Like my bladder gets so tensed up, and like it just fucking sucks. But that probably has to do something with me still having a Foley. So yeah, all of us use different stuff, but make sure that you
Well,
guys check out your, yeah. What are you gonna say, Maya?
yeah, I wanted to touch on what you said because sometimes that happens to me too. Like if I keep my bag on for a while, like if I'm not capping it often, my bladder loses the ability to like retain itself. So
Mm-hmm.
you actually might have to just start out capping for 5 minutes
Okay. Like
and
train
try
it
that
a
out,
little
and
bit.
then just keep extending your time. Like I know it sucks and you feel like, yeah, you're gonna feel like you need to piss yourself, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also just getting used to that again, letting your bladder train up to have that retention a little bit.
Yeah, that's good advice. I agree. I think that that's smart to do, and like to be able to train your bladder and to be able to be independent in that way, and like not have to worry about it. And also just like been struggling with different things with that. I struggled with using an overnight bag for a while, or having it shown, or my mom was real ashamed of it for a while. Like she wanted me to just hide it away, and I kind of just like didn't care. And I was still in a depressed mode. So honestly, my pee bag was just like, I'm in a fucking wheelchair. Like, I don't care about my pee bag. Like I wasn't getting ready or anything. Like, it didn't really matter to me until like later on when I really joined the community and started meeting more girls and more people, and like realized that I could hide it and I could still look cute inside of a chair and I could still get dressed up, and I didn't have to have my pee bag like on the side of me all the time, and like it definitely was a love-hate relationship that I had to learn how to realize it's a part of me now, and it's something that I have to deal with, and being ashamed of it doesn't help anybody. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. So now when I'm traveling, if I go on the plane, if I do anything like for a long time, I'm taking my overnight bag because I don't want to have to deal with having a cath and empty my bag and worry about how much I'm drinking and do all that extra stuff. It's just easier for me in my life to not have to worry about it. So yeah. All right. So we were talking about that for tons of time. So we're going to get on to dealing with nerve pain and spasms and how you feel about it towards the beginning and now, and how it's affecting your life. So we all kind of touched on how much we hate it and how much it does annoy the crap out of us, just having that constant pain or something moving our legs and us not being able to control or do anything important with our legs, but they're causing us pain. I feel like that idea ever since I was first injured has been so annoying. So how has it been for you, Ashley? What do you experience?
With nerve pain?
Yeah, do you have nerve pain or spasms?
Yes. I have nerve pain and spasms. They're great. Love them. But so I get really bad nerve pain like in my fingers. More so
Mm-hmm.
this hand than this one.
Is there anything
And
that triggers it?
I don't really know. It's like a constant.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't really know what. I notice like when it's rainy or like weather change, but I don't know why. Like maybe it's just Chicago always has weather change, but not. You know what I mean?
Yesterday was winter, today is summer.
Yeah, and I've been spazzing a lot and nerve paining a lot.
Uh-huh. And how
But
did you feel when you first realized that you were going to have that and it was going to be like a constant thing that was going to be affecting your life?
See, well, kind of like what Maya was saying, when I first got injured, my spasms weren't as bad. I feel like over time they're actually getting worse. And I feel like that could just be, like paralysis things, like the fun of disabled life. Love that aging. But so, I don't really know. I smoke my weed and I try to like just deal with it. But it is annoying. Kind of like what Maya said too, like it does affect like certain things. Like sometimes it could help when I'm transferring, but sometimes it throws me off and it's a little scary. So kind of just depends what they decide to do. I always say, and then they wake me up at night, which is the most annoying thing. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I don't sleep. So if I die early, it's because I don't sleep. Because I be waking up like 3-4 times a night. My legs doing the dancey dance. That's what I call them. It's very annoying. So yeah, and I don't know how to cure that.
You take anything for it besides weed?
No, just weed. Maybe that's what I need. I need to start sleeping with the edible near my bed so I can just pop it in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I was against medication for a long time, but now I can't deal with not taking a gabapentin like in the morning and at nighttime because that pain is just so incredibly bad. So what I did is like started out at a lower dosage and then like worked my way like that way and just have like a tolerance like with that. But I feel like sometimes we like avoid medication because we're like so strict on not having anything, but there are little things that are meant to help us, so a small dosage of something could be life-changing, could cause you a little less pain. So something to think about.
When I first got injured, I was on gabapentin.
Okay.
It just felt like it wasn't, like my nerve pain was still, and I feel like my nerve pain's gotten better since I got injured, but my spasms have gotten worse.
Interesting.
So it's like weird, but
How about you, Nikki?
I definitely experienced like pain in the nerve and all of those pains, but I have found that it has gotten like better over the years. Not so much the nerve pain, but definitely the spasms, or like they're different, and I kind of just learned to work with them. I don't take anything for my spasms, so
not even this.
Yeah, I smoke marijuana once in a while. I can go without smoking and I'll feel fine. So I feel like they're just very subtle spasms. They're not really, to me, they don't, Yeah, sometimes I get them bad, but that's like once in a while. Like I feel like it's. Don't be lying to the folk.
Like is it when you overdo your body or is it just like completely random? You don't know
when I overdo my body or like when I don't do like.
Are your pressure breaks? Your pressure breaks?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
Ashley putting you on blast right now.
For real, when I forget to do my all day.
She's bad at those. Oh my
god.
But I never got a pressure.
It's hard.
Got all that fat, that cushion.
You guys are so funny. How about you? Okay, what were you saying? Sorry.
Oh, I think that was all.
Okay, how about you, Jessica? How was it for you dealing with your nerve pain and spasms? Do you deal with any? Do you take medication? What's your journey with it?
What's interesting because the nerve pain, I had a lot on my hands when I first got injured, and the doctor said that if it didn't go away within the first month, it was probably never going to go away. I was lucky it went away. I don't have as much. So I don't really suffer too much from nerve pain. When my spasms started in the hospital, I was really excited because I thought it meant that I was going to walk, right? My legs are moving, which means I'm going to walk. And then when when they tell you, well, it's an incomplete injury, the signal's going, but it doesn't know where to go. So I'm like, okay. So at first it was exciting. The first 2 years, I refused to take any medication. I had this idea that if I just didn't put anything in my body to relax it, then it increased my chances of walking. And then it was just like, okay, you have to live. And so I couldn't, so I cath, and I couldn't cath at all. And, I still have anti-tippers on my chair, and it's not because of anything other than the fact that my spasms flip me backwards, they flip me forward. So for me, it's just, I flip too easily because of my spasms. But After 2 years, I started taking baclofen, and like I said, I will always have my spasms, but they're more manageable now. Um, they do wake me up at night, so it's like every 2 to 3 hours I turn, but it's because I spasm. So
Mhm.
when I feel the spasm, I wake up and do a full turn.
Mhm.
Uh, they are horribly annoying. There are nights I don't sleep because of them. Um, but I think I found some tips, like some tricks. I wear ankle braces to sleep. Um, I bought a weighted pillow and I put it on top of my legs. There was I I sleep in a little ball, so my knees up against my chest,
Mhm.
and I've literally had people lay on top of me. Um, and then they lay there for a while, and after a while they kind of stop. So that's a trick I use.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that before. But
Yeah.
one thing that you did teach me, Jessica, that I didn't learn before I talked to you was like making them strain more. Like for my nerve pain, I just have to push them out instead of trying to like hold it back so much. Sometimes I have
Mhm.
to just like put all my pressure on it, like make them more, because if I try to move my leg, it almost causes like nerve pain instantly. So I can feel instantly more tingles all over my leg, which is super annoying. But I realize that sometimes I have to just like experience for a little bit, and then it almost relaxes my body. So can you explain that, Jessica?
So what I do is throughout the day, like, I think we talk about being girls and like we already get enough attention. So for a really long time, like I would try not to spasm. Like I was like, don't spasm, don't do it. So I would kind of just stay. I have strategies to like make me seem normal. Um, right? Where I like I'm containing them.
Uh-huh.
And what I started doing is like I can't do this anymore. Um, and so anywhere I am, I kind of just I go, okay, go. And I let them just go and like spasm crazy as much as they can. And I've realized that that's just what my body needs sometimes to actually experience all that in one hit, and it kind of
Mm-hmm.
calms it down instead of constantly resisting them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did have a therapist say that when you push against them, they fight you. So
That
always
makes
trying to
sense.
always trying to be contained sometimes makes it worse. So I just had to embrace that people are gonna look at me like I was crazy, and um, and just make sure that I let them out and that I like spasm like crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and, and just like you said, like experience it, like let it go to the worst possible place, and then it kind of just it obviously
Mm-hmm.
isn't gonna last all day, but it gives you a break.
That's what kind of helps me at nighttime too. Like I'll wake up out of my sleep. Some nights are worse than others. So I try to take my medicine, like the gabapentin, as close as when I'm going to sleep as possible. But sometimes it's just too much. I have to literally sit up and like strain my legs out, let them go so that I can like literally fall asleep again. If I try to fight it, I'm waking up like every 5 to 10 minutes, and that's just exhausting. Like, and I wake up constantly throughout the night because of my pain, anyways. I have to shift my weight or else I'm in so much pain. So it's like now over the time I've gotten used to it. In the beginning, when they told me I had to turn every 2 hours, I was not fucking having it. I was so irritated with that whole thing. And I got a pressure sore because I was fighting against it. I was like, you ain't gonna fucking wake me up to every 2 hours. Like you're tripping. I used to be so angry about that. But now my body's just used to it. I've gotten used to shifting my weight, and it does help with the whole pressure sore thing, which we're gonna get into. So Maya, you deal with tons of nerve pain and spasms too. So how has that affected you? I mean, you talked a little bit about it affecting your daily life and kind of when you're out and about trying to push your man in a chair, and like, do you have any tips and tricks for that? Is she frozen? I thought she was just really into what I'm saying, but maybe she's frozen. Jesus, yeah, I think she's frozen. She's so funny. Okay, when she comes back, hopefully we'll be able to get her answer on that, because I know she deals with some crazy ass spasms too. Okay, so let's see. Changes her little faces in between are just
It's so
cracking me up.
cute. Her little frozen faces.
Hmm. This is so funny. Okay, well, at least she comes back to us. All right, so changes in sexual function. Do you remember when you realized that you could no longer feel? So a part of that had to do with the catheter for sure, but just like how did that feel? I mean, for a lot of girls, I deal with Triumph Foundation, which goes and helps newly injured girls in the hospital. And it's one of the main concerns that newly injured women have. And for me, I kindly briefly remember feeling about it, but I feel like maybe because like we're already a couple years out, we get used to it. Like we kind of don't remember those beginning feelings, you know? But for a lot of girls, they're like, what the hell? Like, I hate this, you know, like this isn't fair, which is a totally understandable response to it, you know. In the beginning, the doctors were telling me a lot because I had a boyfriend, so he was obviously there with me, and they were like, oh, just to let you know, you can still have babies, you can still have sex, you can still do all this stuff. And I was just like, yeah, no on that, you know, like I am not comfortable right now. I fucking hate my life. Like, don't even hit me with all that nonsense, you know. But I remember clearly texting my mom when they were changing my catheter one time and being like, they just changed my catheter and I couldn't feel anymore. And like being so sad about it, like being like, you feel a sense of loss. It's a grieving process, you know, like, of course, everybody likes to feel good. Everybody likes that feeling. So when it no longer feels the same, you know, it's a panic mode. It's not a nice feeling to feel. And then not only that, but people don't talk about having sex regularly, right? They don't talk about it in their able-bodied life, you know. We might get a few ratchet girls here and there that explain it. But, you know, other than that, you know, it's not really talked about. It's just something that you do. So afterwards, when you're no longer able to feel the same anymore, it's hard to communicate that, you know? And as a woman, you already feel like you're taking so much away from the person that you're with that it's like, it's hard to have that conversation like, oh no, this doesn't feel this way anymore. I need you to do this, you know. It can be a tricky thing to navigate, you know. So how was that for you, Jessica? So when you were injured, were you in a relationship?
I was on and off with my boyfriend at the time. And again, like my sensation wasn't really impaired. Um, so, you know, we knew that I could still get pregnant, but we didn't know the ins and outs. So when I got out of the hospital, the thing that was different is having an orgasm, right? But I mean, with time, we were able to like figure it out. I mean, it's just, I guess, getting comfortable because, you know, it's
Yeah.
true. Like, our bodies are not the same and things like that. So I think the conversation that they didn't have with me was like birth control and how it is hard to put us on something because, well, taking a plan B is not that safe for blood clots. So
Uh-huh.
I found that out after taking it. So, but I think, yeah, I was fortunate the sensation actually was the same. The only issue I had at first was, yeah, having an orgasm. And I do think it's different for me now than it was back then.
Yeah, completely. I agree. A lot of people are afraid to try different things. So we were just having a talk. Why it's so much inside of my head is because I was talking to some newly injured girls. We have this little stoner chat, and they're just so interested and intrigued about different ways to do different things to try that you might not have thought about. So something that we say is your sensation might not be the same, but there's different ways to achieve the pleasure that you're looking for. So all your other sensational spots, such as your neck, your ears, your nipples, anything like that, are very sensational. So it becomes more extreme. So I think foreplay is a must after your injury. I mean, I think it is a must. And if you need to have that conversation, then it is a conversation you need to have, girl. Let me talk to Ashley and Nikki. So how was it for you guys? So just that experience of maybe the doctor or you realizing that you couldn't feel the same anymore.
It was definitely weird. I feel like definitely for like women, or maybe I speak for myself, but like I like the idea that women were beautiful, we're sexual beings, we're beautiful, you know, our bodies, we're gorgeous. And like when I had my accident, I did feel a little bit like I lost that. Like I was like really confused. Like, yeah, they told me that I'd be able to have sex again. Like, that's one of the first things the nurses, I feel like, told me, which I don't know why, but I was curious. I was curious about everything, though, when it came to this injury. So I definitely think it's, like, important, like, especially for girls with injuries, if you're, like, nervous to go out there at first, like, don't be afraid to explore yourself. You know, meditation, baby. No. I know it's an awkward topic, but yeah, that's all I'll say there. You're funny.
No, I think that's important. It's hard. I mean, we talk about, they also mentioned in the chat, like, wearing pull-ups, like, not feeling that sexy nature anymore, not being able to, like, do things that you used to be able to do, you know? Also, over time with being in a relationship, I learned that sensation has gotten, like, stronger and stronger, but it's a process. You have to learn your body again. So don't be so hard on yourself. Some girls, like, go out and try it one time, and it's like they have a horrible experience. They might have a headache, you know, they have AD, different things, and they just retreat from it instead of trying to learn their body again. And I really say that's not the way to go, because you deserve to feel good, you know, so you need to find that pleasure again. So let's talk to Maya. Maya, how has that been for you as a quad and your journey through that, all that? Hopefully we can get her answer. I feel like whenever I want to ask her a question, it fucking goes away.
All right. So in the
We're losing Maya.
Oh, we're losing you, Maya.
Where'd you
I
go?
wanted to hear her take.
Pull over right now, TJ. It's kidding. You're in and out. Yeah, you're in and out.
my bars are better. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so in the beginning of my injury, I remember not being able to feel them cathing me in the hospital for like a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden, I remember being very excited because I could feel them cath me all of a sudden. That was like a highlight of my experience in the hospital. I was like, oh my gosh, I just felt when they touched my vagina, like, oh, I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the now is like being injured, like some of my muscles are atrophied, you know, so I had issues like feeling sexy. I didn't feel like I knew my own body anymore, and I didn't really feel comfortable in my skin, as well as having a catheter, you know. And when I got to the suprapubic catheter, it's like a port right on my pubic bone, you know, and I was like, that is not cute. I didn't feel comfortable. I was afraid of peeing myself all the time. See, I'm like freezing again. So, yeah.
We can hear you. We can hear you going. It just like is a little bit caught up.
Okay, yeah. So, that's really been my experience with it. And honestly, I feel like sex is better now. Like, to add on to what Brianna was saying about like those places like your neck and your nipples, for me, like my neck is the sensation there is extremely heightened because it's one of the only places that I have 100% normal sensation. So it's like if TJ kisses me on my neck like one time, like it's over for me.
I totally agree. And yeah, that's important to just above your level of injury, like it's probably like where your sensation is the most. But I've heard all kinds of different things. I mean, sometimes even like the touch of like a hand like on my skin is like enough sensation like for me to feel like pleasure. Like it just depends, honestly, and it gets very heightened as well. Like as time goes on, let me say that too, like it does get like heightened. So yeah, just don't draw away from it. Let me look at the comments a little bit. Luba from Canada, C1 and 2 from a tumor in your back in 2008. You mainly use baclofen for spasms and Neurotin for nerve pain. Love weed, but it messes up my sleep and head, so use it minimally. Hot showers help with pain, as does a moist heating pad. Yeah, I do agree. Heating pads do help me a little bit. I've learned like lidocaine helps like take it away a bit. As for also gabapentin, it doesn't take away my nerve pain, but it helps me get through things. It helps me be able to just push through a little bit more. It's like almost feeling like the strongest punch and then feeling like the second and third strongest punch. Like that shit still hurts, but I know that it could hurt more. So that's kind of where my mind is at with it. But I love hot showers. Heat does help. Even sometimes drinking something hot could help. Like a hot tea helps calm down your body. It relaxes you a bit. But as for weed, nah, I need to smoke that shit all the time or else I am not okay. JJ Mac, I felt Neurotin gave me spasms in my neck, like ticks. I had to come off it as a hardware and my neck started hurting from it. Okay. Yeah, you see how things affect you different ways. So it's a trial and error. Don't give up. I'd say sometimes the first couple of years of spinal cord injury can be so exhausting, just trying to find your routine, trying to find what works for you, trying to find what's best. But don't give up, because once you find it, the next couple of years, the rest of your life that you're living, it does get easier. So there's benefits to it. There's benefits to figuring out what works and what triggers your body and what doesn't trigger it. Okay. Hi, how do I roll? Thanks you for joining in. If anyone is interested in getting a standing frame, I have my Easy Stand 5000 that is almost brand new that I have to sell because I'm moving. No reasonable offer refused. Where are you located at? How I roll, so we can just know. Oh, I think he said gotta go. Great. We'll never know the answer. We'll ask him soon and figure it out, you guys. Yeah, so thank you guys for joining. Really appreciate it. Let's see what else we have on. If you guys are in the chat, you guys have any questions for us, feel free to join in and ask us. Okay, so dealing with pressure sores was definitely a struggle, because depending on where you go to rehab, they kind of explain to you different. So my rehab wasn't really strict on it at all. They explained that I could possibly get it, but they told me my skin was good, so they would let me lay on my side. They didn't really care or anything like that, which caused me to get an extreme pressure sore on my right side. So right on my bone, on my thigh, I got a bad pressure sore, and I refused to go to the doctor. I didn't have a regular doctor, and nobody in my family was making me go. So honestly, now knowing about pressure sores, I let it go on for way more than it should have. And it still is a struggle in my life, because once that skin gets wear down, you don't get it back anymore. So I say try to keep that tone up, try to get those electric stimulators on your legs as soon as possible, because once that tone goes away, it's hard to get it back, and it does help with this whole pressure sore thing and having to transfer and sit on different surfaces and stuff like that. It's a lot of years and a lot of extra thinking. So, Jessica, have you ever had a pressure sore? You've been inside of a chair for a while now. So how's your journey been with it?
So I haven't really atrophied, so I'm pretty thick everywhere. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, I have really long tailbone. So crazy thing is, before my accident, I weighed 300 pounds. I lost like 80, and my tailbone cut me, like it cut through the skin while I was able-bodied. And so being disabled, I was on a roller coaster once, and again, I have sensation. So I literally felt when my tailbone ripped my skin, like I could feel
goodness.
It. Yeah. And so now that it's like, it doesn't go deep. It's the tiniest like slit. But of course, whenever I get it, because once you get a pressure sore in an area or a cut or whatever, you're more likely to get one again in the same area.
Mm-hmm.
It's my tailbone. Like so it's happened to me, I want to say 3 times now, in the exact same spot. I do freak out right away, because I have worked at a lot of hospitals for rehab. So I knew right away, like, the fact that I could be at the hospital for like 6 months from a flap surgery, I knew right away there's no way. So I went to wound care. As soon as I see the smallest thing, I go to wound care. Like my doctors are really good about just writing the order. Um, and it doesn't get deep and it doesn't get like big. It's like the size of a quarter, if that. Like, and it's not even like it's a whole, like it opens my skin. It literally is like a split, you know,
Yeah.
right where my crack would start. It's like a little slit.
Mm-hmm.
And they do like honey patches, and they like will cut the skin for me so that it grows back. But it's kind of just something that's there now. Um,
Yeah. Something you have to
and
be
I
aware of.
Yeah, I can feel right away when it's cut through. It's really annoying. It's been like 2 3 years since it's happened, but throughout the 12 years, it's happened like 2 or 3 times.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. And as a quad, you dealing with your pressure reliefs, like how do you kind of do that? Can you give us a little bit of example of you how you might do a pressure relief inside of a manual chair?
So again, like I have use of my legs. Um,
Okay.
so I actually don't really use my arms to lift myself. I don't think I have enough strength for that. But and I use the spasm. So like I kind of trigger a spasm, and then I just lean and
Okay, okay. Wow, that's smart.
yeah. And if you ever see me, I have ADHD too, so I can't sit still. So I switch from right leg to left leg, always crossing my legs. So the pressure is usually on one side, and because I can feel, I get tired, or I don't hear enough people talk about this, but our legs fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I can feel when my leg falls asleep. And the problem with crossing your legs for some people is they don't notice that the leg that's crossed over falls asleep, which means you cut circulation for too long. And
Yeah.
I can feel it. So then I switch over. So I'm always moving in the chair and I'm always switching. And
Shifting your weight. Okay.
yeah, so, and I can
Yeah,
feel
that
when
was
my leg starts hurting.
so you know when you need to do a pressure relief.
Yeah. And like if I do, because I my bowel, I have a regular toilet. So like sometimes if I like land wrong, I hit the bone and I can feel it right away. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I know to check my skin.
Okay, okay. How about you actually? How has it been for you learning how to do pressure release, and how is it for you as a quad, like lifting yourself up and just being aware of that? Have you had any issues?
So I'm in a power chair, so I have the tilt function,
Uh-huh.
basically like laying down. So that's how I did or do my pressure breaks a lot of times. I also feel like that's like a really good one, right? Like better than like most because you're literally like upside down
Mm-hmm.
almost, right? Um, but I also can like you probably see me doing this live, lifting myself and stuff because I can lift myself. I can tilt forward. Like when my tilt function was broken a couple weeks ago, I was just tilting forward to do my pressure breaks.
Okay, so
So
you just
that's how I
and
do
can you
them.
feel it, or like when do you realize that you need to do a pressure break? Like is it programmed in your head? Do you feel pain? Like what is that process?
I feel like it's just programmed in my head. The only time I feel like I'm really bad at like remembering to do them is when we're out and about doing stuff, or like maybe I'm
Mm-hmm.
like doing there's things that are taking too long, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
that's when I need to tell myself like, okay, like you've been on your butt too long. I like to think that I'm really good at my pressure breaks for the most part. I know when I'm not, and I feel like I start spasming like crazy when I'm like ready to do a pressure break, and I'll get like little dizzy sometimes, but that's like when it's like really bad. Like, girl, what are you doing? Um, and then as far as pressure sores, I haven't had like a really bad one. I don't even know what stage it would be, but I had like a really red mark on my butt. I continue to always too, which is like kind of scary. But I'm just like bony. I've atrophied quite a bit since my injury, since the first beginning of my
Mm-hmm.
injury. So I had a pressure sore on I forget one of my sides, one of my bony booty sides. And what I did actually, shout out Lizzie at Real Crip Shit on Instagram. She gave me the tip to like use some ointment and then put a band-aid on it, like that has extra padding. Because obviously, if you know her, she has like kids and stuff, so she can't You know, she was like, when I had my pressure sore, I couldn't stay in my bed. So she's like, this worked for me to still be able to be active, but also you do want to make sure like you're doing more pressure reliefs than normal. So that's what I did, and I would say that was like pretty good. Like, and since then I've been good, but we'll see. I
Yeah,
just get
that's
ready
good. Those
for
are
everything.
all great tips. How about you, Nikki? So Ashley was saying that you're kind of bad at it. Do you feel like you've ever gotten a pressure sore? Has it like affected you? Like, or why do you feel like it's been hard for you to like program it?
I never had a
Putting you on the
pressure sore.
spot.
I never had a pressure sore. I'm really bad at doing my pressure breaks, but this what Ashley didn't say is I do move a lot. Like I'll move around. I'm pretty active. I hop out of my chair.
Yeah, you do get out of your chair a lot.
I get out of my
too.
chair a lot throughout the day. I'm not like always in here. So yeah, I suck at doing my pressure breaks. But like when I get in bed, I'm like this way. I know to turn. Like at night, I turn myself. So like yeah, I forget here and there to do pressure breaks, especially if we're doing something all day. You probably noticed it at the Abilities Expo.
Yeah, that's me,
That's when I
girl.
got my pressure sore. I'm pretty sure
Aw.
because I was horrible at
Yeah,
doing the
sitting
ability.
carbs
But
too. I'm
also,
bad at it.
what people don't talk about a lot too, I like how Jessica said, with your legs and the circulation, and also like what you eat is very important to prevent and heal a pressure sore. And I feel like in our community, we forget about that a lot. Like, I make sure I get my protein in. You have to, and no matter what your diet is. And I think that's something that saved me a lot with never getting one, because I try to eat, like, I make sure that I try to eat right. And I also, like, try to keep it moving. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
staying
obviously, you can't.
active and all that really affects your healing process. For some reason, our healing
Yes.
process sucks so much after injury. So it's really important to take care of those little cuts because they can get bigger, they can get deeper. And they usually say that once we are already seeing the pressure sore or a mark on us, or we even have a cut or anything, it's deeper than what we're seeing. You know,
Yes.
the
A
injury
pressure
goes
starts
more deeper.
inside. Yep.
So it's really important, to be able to check. For me, I'm constantly like shifting like my hips. I'll go this way, or you'll just see me like up for a little while, I'll wiggle around and just like kind of
Hey, cute
release
shirt. Cute
myself.
shirt.
Yeah, representing, Shop official. And yeah, that's kind of what I do to kind of release myself. I do get a lot of nerve pain, so I try to lift up just to give my butt a release because it hurts so freaking much. And so that's been definitely difficult. This mat, Luba said, this mat helps me with pain and lowers my level of pain. I use it after applying the moist heating pad. What mat are you talking about, Luba? Yes, what we eat is extremely important. It is also for our bowels. I hear a lot of people having issues with their bowels in the beginning, but it's because we're kind of used to having a free for all diet. And it's like, no, you really have to narrow in and pay attention and like record what affects you and doesn't affect your body, because it matters over the years. And it definitely catches up to you. So if you don't do it now, it's going to catch up to you eventually, So it's like you're going to have to either deal with it now and it be a pain in the ass, or it be triple the pain of the ass later. That's kind of what I look at things. JJ Mack, 8 years in, and I've thankfully only had a couple. My power chair gave me one just above my elbow from the pad I have at the back of my armrest, and the other was right by my ankle bone. Oh yeah, my ankle bone is fucked up right now. My feet, I'm having such problems with, like finding a shoe to wear that will stay on. And I like to go barefoot so much because of my nerve pain. I can even feel it when something's on my feet. So when I have my shoes and my pants on, I am not a happy camper. Like that shit hurts me constantly. I can feel the pain and it's draining. So I try to leave my shoes off as much as possible, which causes me to be injured a lot because I'm not careful, which is my own fault, right? I'm like going too fast. I'm fucking hitting things. All of a sudden my foot's trapped behind something, It's like I don't realize my foot's hanging off my plate. That kept on happening at the Abilities Expo. Tom's girlfriend was like, Brianna, your foot. And I was like, oh shit. So that happens. But we just need to slow down and listen to our bodies and be careful about little stuff like that, So last but not least, let's talk about mental health a bit, because it's an important topic that I want to talk about. A lot of us don't realize how much our injury is affecting our mental health. I didn't realize how many mental health problems I was having before my injury and how my injury kind of amplified it. And I was in denial for a while. A part of me felt like I was only physically broken, but I realized shortly after that I was mentally broken as well. I had PTSD, I had this trauma, I had this grieving process that I had to go through. I had all this pain in my heart, and my mind was just in scrambles. I didn't even know what was real and false from my own thoughts anymore. I felt like that's how bad it got. It's hard not to feel sorry for yourself. It's hard not to be angry. It's hard to keep on wanting to live after something like this has happened. You're kind of like, what the fuck, life? Like, this is, what did I do to deserve this? And it can be frustrating and not easy to focus on the negative things that this disability can bring. It's exhausting to deal with all this stuff that we've been talking about. And I feel like all this stuff definitely takes a toll on your mental health. So I'm going to talk to Jessica about this. And I just want to know, like, when did you realize that your mental health was being affected and that you wanted to help others through it? Like, what was your journey through that?
For me, I think there was a lot of denial. Like I said, like my first 2 years, I was really focused on walking again. And I was really right away happy talking to people, like wanting to get together with everyone I knew. I think it was more like I tell people that I don't do depression, I do anger. And the way I expressed my sadness is just being really mean to the people that were closest to me, right? So, um, like Brianna said, I like you come into this injury with already a lot of stuff going on inside of you, and the injury just amplifies it. So, like all my childhood trauma, all the pain of being a teenager, and then having my mom be my full time caregiver, I kind of was just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna throw it all at you now. So I was really mean to her, and I wasn't even mean to her about the injury. I was actually mean to her about everything I went through as a kid, right? Um, when I noticed that like my mental health was an issue, because I've never seen anger as an issue. I grew up in an angry environment. Everyone would get mad. No one would say anything about it, right? But we weren't allowed to be sad. That was number one in my family. Like, you don't cry about it, or I'm going to give you something to cry about. And you walk it off, you get over it, you don't cry. So I saw everyone angry and it was okay. So I've never seen anger as a problem, or I never saw it as a problem. Um, but then I would get my period, and the amount of pain and sadness that would come over me, I couldn't hide it with anger, right? And so I would tell my mom, like, because at that point I had already met a lot of people in chairs that had told me about their depression. My thing was like, oh my God, how does someone feel like this every day? Like I feel it once a month or twice a month, but to feel it every day. And when I wanted to go back to school after my injury, I just wanted to understand more about our process and how we cope and how we deal with things, right? At the beginning, when everyone would say it's such a blessing that you lived, I used to say a blessing or a curse, right? And in those really difficult moments, I think everyone thinks, death would have been easier. And I just wanted to understand how some people get through it, how some people can't get out of it, and in general, how people deal with pain and sadness and heartache. And that's when I decided I was going to be a therapist.
Oh, I love it. I was getting nonstop chills. I feel like a lot of us relate to it, and it can definitely be a struggle. And it's very empowering to take control over it and to realize it. And yeah, you touched on all the things that you feel. You feel like, what the hell? Like, why was I left alive to feel this way? Like, it fucking sucks, and it's not easy to have it taken away, And when I realized that all this stuff was going on and that there was a different side of it, that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, it made me super excited to try, and when I felt myself starting to heal, when I started to talk to a therapist about things that I felt and get into kind of my brain unscrambled and realizing how much my past and my childhood has affected the way I think and feel about life, it changed so much for me. It changed the way I looked at my injury. It changed the way I looked at problems in my life, you know? And that's the thing, like mental health, it doesn't just help your disability. It helps you. You're still a person after your injury. You still have to deal with life's just problems hitting you nonstop on top of all this bullshit that we've already been talking about. And it's exhausting. It's hard. And to think, you know, I'm gonna feel like this forever. This is a forever type of thing. That feeling, that thought in your head can be drowning, you know. So it's really important, I think, to figure it out and to talk to somebody about it, and to see what's going on. And I know a lot of us are raised like we don't talk to therapists unless we're crazy. We don't need to talk about our problems, like just because, like Jessica said, like suck it up, you know, like you're stronger than that, get through it. But the reality is that no, we need to figure out what's going on in our head, because we have so many things battling between false and true statements in going on in our brain, you know. So yeah, I've talked to people where they go talk to a therapist, and the therapist doesn't understand about having life with a spinal cord injury and what comes with that, and can kind of push them away. But please don't give up. It's important to find the person that you can connect with, and that's what I think what Jessica's doing is so important, is because she's out there talking to people and relating to them, and we need more people in the field who understand us, you know. So how has that been with you, like even talking to able-bodied people and people inside of the chair? Like you feel like therapy is important? Like what's your view on people going to therapy afterwards?
Honestly, I've said this before. What I realized working with able-bodied people and people with disabilities is, yes, like our lives they get bombarded with more difficult moments. What we go through is definitely not easy and more often, right? Um, However, the mental health part, the worry, the fear, the sadness, the despair, we all feel that as humans. So that part, I don't see a difference between able-bodied and disabled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is hard to find the right therapist. However, it's hard whether you're able-bodied or not. I think that finding representation that looks like you is very important. But if you can't find that, you know, trying to shop around and really see what you want to work on. If you look up their profiles and you know what you want to work on is trauma, make sure that their profiles say trauma on it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that if you're super anxious and you feel it, that you look at their profiles and make sure it says a lot of stuff on anxiety. Shop around. It's like dating. You might not click with the first one, but it is help that all of us can benefit from.
Yeah, I totally agree, 100%. So Ashley and Nikki, I mean, I know that you guys have both been working on your mental health as well, and you guys are big advocates for it, and how it's affected your life before your injury and afterwards. So, Ashley, you want to explain that a little bit of your journey with that, and like how you realized that your injury has put a strain on your mental health, and your journey towards working towards it? What made you want to work on it?
So for me, I mean, your mental, I feel like after, you sustain a spinal cord injury midway through life, it's going to affect your mentals, especially like I got injured when I was 24. So graduated college, all the things, and was kind of already like doing my thing and like figuring it out. So getting injured just made me feel like a lot of the dreams and shit that I had wrapped up in myself were like done. Like I couldn't do them anymore. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it just taking a lot of work. I feel like it just over time. Like I feel like this is the first year because we're only 3 and like I have years out. I feel like this is the first year where I'm finally getting back to like doing the things that I like to do and like actively doing them and not just like saying I'm gonna do them. But I give myself grace because I try to remember like for the past 2 years you were going through a lot, like major life change, a lot of other issues, a lot of other outside things that out of my control. So it's like try to give myself grace that you were dealing with shit, so it doesn't you're good, like because it is you
Mm-hmm.
do beat yourself up. Now that I am like doing, I would say quote unquote better, I beat myself up for wasting 2 years.
And I'm sure I'll look back next year and say that I wasted this year. So I just try to give myself grace. But I feel like I'm doing better overall. But I also suffer with, I have, not suffer, I hate saying suffer. They're my friends. I have anxiety and depression. So, those are like my friends that I deal with daily. But weed helps, and that's just something I've battled with this like all my life. So it's just something that over time I've learned to cope with. And like now, like overall, like I'm good.
Do you remember a point in your injury when it did something trigger you, or was there a memory or a moment like where you were like, hold up, like I need to work on this, like this is taking over my life more than I would want it to, or did you just start working towards it?
For me, I feel like a lot of it is like, I don't know, was it on this live that I already said it, but like I don't really have like support. So for me, it's like trying to get stronger so that way I can not have to worry about relying on other people, or at least as many.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
How about you, Nikki? What was your journey like with mental health? Did you realize it like before your injury? Did you have any problems with mental health? And afterwards, how'd you realize anything?
After my injury, I definitely realized that there was like mental health, I guess, like PTSD from the accident, and just like I had felt myself going into like this dark place. Not year one, so we got injured in March, and I started therapy in January, and that was like my own doing because I felt like did feel like I was going to a dark place. And like through therapy, it's helped a lot because, after my injury, not only was I injured, but I also had become Ashley's like full-time caregiver. And that was a lot to navigate. Just recently, I'm finally taking a step back to figure out who Nikki is without being this disabled woman, without being this caregiver. Like, what do I enjoy? What do I want to do? Do I want to go back to school? Do I want to go back to work? Like, I haven't even been able to think of those things the last few years because of the roles that I've had to play. So mental health, like, definitely, like, and that has given me a lot of anxiety, just thinking of the future, thinking of like planning everything out as a caregiver and as doing my own care day to day. And it gave me a lot of anxiety about worrying about the future, worrying about the current, like trying to plan everything. It was a lot, like thrown into this situation and this injury, and then thrown into a role that I had never planned on doing, you know what I mean? And therapy has definitely helped a lot, like dealing with the copes. And even though I received like backlash for trying to work on myself, I know in the end that you gotta do what's best for you. You know?
100%.
And that's what I'm learning. So, yeah.
It's a hard process. Working on yourself is not easy. It's fucking easy to be negative and to give up and not to have to deal with all these problems, like it is easy to be sad and to be frustrated at life. It's hard to work towards all that pain and to keep on wanting to push through like every day. It's hard to be like, what
Jessica's been a help.
Yes, Jessica's helped me a lot too. Just put it on the forefront and be like, wait a minute, not like this is something that controls the rest of my life. Like it controls my thoughts, it controls my actions, it controls so much of me. Like I need to work on it. I need to figure out who I am, what I want. Like those are questions I've never asked myself. And that's like something that I've never like haven't given much thought into, and now it's very important for me to realize that if my mental health isn't right, I'm not right. Like that has to come first for me. And also like focusing on my flaws. Like what am I doing in my life to make this happen? What can I be doing differently? And that's painful little thing to do too, It's really easy to blame everybody else for your problems, but to take a step back and be like, what do I need to change about myself? What do I need to do different in my life and in my routine to become the best version of myself? That shit's hard, So give yourself grace.
Especially if you're like in an environment where you feel like you're not receiving the best support. You gotta just be like, I'm doing this for me.
You gotta
like
be your biggest supporter.
Yeah.
Shit.
You gotta be there for
Self-affirmation.
you. And I think
Tell
when
yourself.
we first get injured, it's so easy to start thinking about the physical. Like, oh, I want to do this, so I can walk again, or so whatever, I could do this, XYZ. and we forget that. And that's what happened with me. Like, I forgot, like, oh, this does fuck with me mentally. Like, maybe I should see a therapist. Like, thought I was doing everything right, but the workouts and stuff only take you so far. Like, you have to work on your mental health as well.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a big conversation to have when you're newly injured. What were you going to say, Jessica? Because I know you've dealt with this a lot too. Oh, you're muted.
One thing that I want to add too is that we don't realize that our mental health affects our disability, right? I know when I was in grad school, like I would push my body to limits that I shouldn't have, and then I would crash and I'd have the worst UTIs and my spasms. I'd be thrown out of my chair. I know I've told you guys, like, meditate and your spasms, even if they don't go away, it'll be a little better. And you know, anxiety completely crushes your bowels. So if you're constantly battling anxiety, you're going to notice problems with your bowel program, because people with anxiety have a lot of stomach issues, or you know, um, a lot of people with depression and spinal cord injuries are malnourished because they don't eat, right? They just stop eating. And
Mhm.
uh, a lot of times we don't talk about how our mental health actually makes our disability worse, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's something that we need to remember as well. Like Nikki was saying, like, it's not just about, the physical exercises, but mental too, because our mental state is going to affect our physical health because they're connected, right? I always say that mental health issues usually come with a lot of chemical imbalances. And if you have a bunch of cortisol flooding your body, you're going to feel, as a spinal cord injury, you're going to feel it.
Mhm. And I feel like also just seeing a therapist is so important because for me, I didn't know until I was told. Like sometimes it's hard for your brain to come up with these reasons and these diagnoses and why you might do something and these simple little explanations if you've never been told. You might feel like, oh, I'm cool, I'm fine, like I can get through it. But when you go to talk to a therapist and you tell them what you're feeling and what you're explaining, they're like, wait, you've been dealing with a lot. Like, do you realize like that you've been self-sabotaging yourself or whatever the case may be, And they really just help you just explain life a little bit more easier because unfortunately like we're products of who raised us, of our surroundings, of what they taught us in our brain and what we thought was okay and not okay. And sometimes that shit is not right. Like take it from me, sometimes it's not right inside of your head, and fixing it has made me a different person. It's my disability has given me a chance to recreate who I want to be in this world. And I think it's really beautiful that I get to do it. So I've fallen in love with self-help and working on myself and growing because I feel like why not? Like if I can just keep getting better and better, why wouldn't I want that for myself? You know? But it takes time to get there. It takes process. It takes a lot of anger. It takes a lot of tears. I've cried. I've been frustrated. Like forgiving your past self, like Ashley talked about. I wanted to hug my younger self and be like, I am so sorry for putting you through this. My teenage self, my self in college, like what was I doing to myself? I'm sorry you had to deal with all that pain, but all I can do now is keep going and hope that I don't have to feel that way again, and realize like, no, I am getting better and better. And next year I can look at myself and be like, I did all I can this year to grow, So that's the goal, guys. I hope you've taken something from this conversation. It's been really deep. We've talked about a lot of different subjects that come with spinal cord injury, and there's tons more. We honestly could talk about this shit for hours because there's just so much stuff that comes with it. It's very
I feel
hard
like
to
we
narrow
need
it
to
down.
end on a positive note.
I
Maybe
know,
say
we definitely
something that's
do.
good after our injuries.
All right.
That
Through
heavy.
all the bullshit, I feel like you can see our positivity shine. You can see us come to life. I feel like I'm the happiest in my pictures. When I watch myself smile, I know I'm happy. When I'm laughing from my heart. Like when I'm getting over problems and I'm feeling empowered now. I'm feeling empowered to empower other people and to make them become their best selves. Like there is nothing I would take back from my disability. And like I've been asked before, would you go back? And I can't. There's no way I wouldn't take away all this pain that we've been talking about and all this struggle. is still
And
worth
meeting
it
you.
for me working on myself. Yeah. I don't know
We
if you
met
guys know
each
this.
Yeah, and we
Yes.
wouldn't have never met each other.
other. Yeah. All right,
Yes.
I have to go. I do have a
Yes.
client. I do
No
have a
worries. We
client.
ran a little late. We love you. Thank you, Jessica, so
Yes.
much. We appreciate it. We're just gonna end on our sponsors and stuff like that. So no worries at all. We appreciate all your help. Make sure you guys go check out Jessica's channel. She posts tons of tips and tricks about all these different dealing with mental health and stuff like that. So it's really important. I love her page, and she has a lot of really great resources. We love you. She's like, I gotta go, girl. 3 minutes late. So yeah, we appreciate you guys watching us. Make sure that you like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And a huge shout out to our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. They have believed in us and they have helped us get to our abilities expos and reach other people. So we really do appreciate them. Thank you, JJ Mack and Luba, for joining and talking inside the chat and everybody else. We appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, you go check out our Instagram and our shop at liveToroll.org. We have some great merch. And also Ashley has some great merch too that I'm rocking. We are all human. Shop LL official. So go follow her page. She is becoming a bomb ass boss babe. So we need to go support her and everything that she does. It's so amazing. So go check that out, guys. We love you. Live to roll, everyone. Bye.
Live to roll, baby.